Hi, I'm Jeanne Johnson, founder and host of Ridgewood Talks. In 2018, I started Ridgewood Talks to introduce you to the leaders and legends of the village and to dig into the town's hot topics. And now, in 2025, we've expanded our vision to include video and social media highlights to bring those stories closer to you via the platforms you use the most. I am so honored and thankful for everyone who has listened to or watched even a single episode. And I'm proud to say that we have over 6,000 followers on our socials. That's over a quarter of the Ridgewood population, and it's growing every day. This has truly been a service-driven mission and a labor of love. So now we're excited to offer Ridgewood area businesses an opportunity to connect with our valued audience and elevate their brand through our video podcast. This will give you the opportunities to support companies that fuel our platform's growth. So let's grow together. If you'd like to take advantage of these sponsorships, endorsements, and local social media shorts, please email us at ridgewoodtalks@gmail.com. And thanks again for being a part of our growing family. I'm Jeanne Johnson, and I'll see you around town or on the next show. Welcome to Ridgewood Talks. Through this podcast, we will be introducing you to some of the leaders and legends in our village. We'll keep you updated about fascinating local events. We'll dig into the town's hot topics and so much more. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm Jeanne Johnson, the founder of Ridgewood Talks and Ridgewood Walks. The goal of these initiatives is to create a kinder, more connected, and more vibrant community. I'm thrilled to be hosting this podcast with my good friend and all-around wonderful guy, Jordan Kaufman. We look forward to meeting with you weekly and hearing your thoughts on who and what you'd like to learn about in our beautiful hometown. For now, be kind, do good, and enjoy this episode. Here we go. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. Today's episode is all about the people and passion behind what makes our village so extraordinary. I'm thrilled to once again welcome our village manager, Keith Kazmark, along with one of Ridgewood's most dedicated public servants, Nancy Bigos. She is the director of our Parks and Recreation Department. Nancy and her team help shape daily life in Ridgewood, from keeping our public spaces beautiful, safe, and clean, to planning and coordinating programming for residents of all ages to enjoy. For decades, Nancy has truly embodied the mission of Ridgewood Parks and Recreation, which is, quote, to preserve open space and provide facilities and year-round recreational activities that meet the needs of all residents. Nancy's quiet, committed leadership has played a major role in making Ridgewood one of the most beautiful towns in the country. In fact, we were recently named one of the 35 best towns in the United States by Travel Curator, who described us as a charming village located in the New York City suburbs with a walkable downtown, beautiful parks, countless award-winning restaurants. I couldn't agree more. And a big part of that recognition is thanks to the incredible work of Nancy and our Parks and Recreation Department. I can't wait to dive in and learn more about the ins and outs of what they do to keep our little village so charming. So welcome back, guys. This is the second time you've been here, Nancy, and I don't know, I've lost count. How many times have you been here?
Too many times.
All right. I know we're short on time today, so we're going to talk fast. First of all, Nancy, how long have you been part of Parks and Rec?
So I began my career in 1979.
Right here in Ridgewood, right? And you moved up right to the top.
Well, worked my way up.
That's
to
what I
the
mean.
top,
Yeah, so good.
You know?
And we're glad to have you there. For the people who don't know, Parks and Recreation is located at the stable, which has a beautiful long history. We can't get into that today, but you're going to come back and we'll talk about that. I know that the stable is home to a bunch of classes, and also it's an art gallery, which I love. Lots of historic.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that.
So the building is 140 years old, part of the original Leicester property. And in 1982, a local group headed by David Bolger decided to do some fundraising and save that facility.
God bless
They
David
moved it,
Bolger.
and it's been our home ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Bolger Foundation has done so much for this community. JT has followed right along in his dad's footsteps, which is so fantastic. So you oversee an awful lot at Parks and Rec. I mean, when I was doing research for this episode, I'm amazed at what you are in charge of and how well you do it. Thank you so much on behalf of all the people who enjoy our parks. Graydon, Vetsfield, the Cashel Shell, it just goes on and on. And there's 17 parks in Ridgewood, is that right?
There are. And hopefully, through open space, we'll be able to
Get
add
some
more.
I love that.
Our residents definitely are passionate about both passive and active open space and their recreational pursuits. And, they value that time in the out of doors. And to be able to provide that for them is truly a win-win for us.
Oh, yeah. And we're so lucky because you do take such good care of it. And I know you don't do it alone. You have a lot of employees that help you. How many people are under your purview?
So there are 17 full-time employees within the Parks and Recreation Department.
17 parks, 17 employees.
There we go.
And I have to tell you, Jeanne, they do so much more here in Ridgewood than other communities. The programming is endless.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But it's not just sports related or park related. The programming that they run out of the community center and out of the stable, supporting the arts and incorporating that into the recreation programming, it's beyond what most other municipalities in northern New Jersey
It's so
provide their residents.
robust. Every time I go visit the stable and I look at all of the pamphlets, and look, you've got some of them here. We're going to go into some of that, but first I want to talk about a great honor that was bestowed upon one of your employees, Katie Fry. Tell me about what happened with Katie.
So for our entire career, we have been members of the New Jersey Recreation and Parks Association. Our original director, Paul Angel, was president back in the 1980s. Tim Cronin served as president of NJRPA. And just 2 Fridays ago, both Keith and I were invited and watched Katie be sworn in.
I love that.
As the president of our state association. You know that to be with your fellow professionals and to be acknowledged in such a way, just made me really proud.
Oh, yeah. And
she's a phenomenal professional.
Yeah, and I'm sure she's learned a lot from you too.
Thank you.
Yeah, really, truly. I really mean that.
And Katie's part of a family legacy.
Oh,
Her
really?
father served as the director of recreation in Fair Lawn. He also served on the board of
so
education.
Wonderful.
Her mom worked in the recreation space, so there's a lot of family history
legacy.
and a lot of family legacy in her assuming this new role.
Oh, I'm so happy for her. So congratulations, Katie. And I know that you have, I'm not sure if it's over yet, you have a summer job fair. You're always looking for employees.
Oh, we do. Okay. That was one of Katie's initiatives, believe it or not. And we had a most successful event. So we do this preseason. We hosted this back in March, usually the first or second midweek night. And it's an opportunity for our young adults to come together, meet the different supervisors and division heads and see what programs are offering, what opportunities for employment might be there. Some of them don't even know how to fill out a job application or where they go for, important information today.
To get their working papers and things like that.
So we had over 100 applicants show up. We had in the past co-sponsored this with Ridgewood High School, and it's been really successful. And it's a great introduction to the business world for our young adults.
And it's bigger than just filling these positions. It's an experience for them.
Yeah.
From filling out the job application to the interview process to learning about all the paperwork that needs to be submitted and the background check process. It's really a life skill that the department is providing these young adults here in Ridgewood.
Incredible.
It's an exciting experience to watch.
Yeah, it's I'm always amazed. Again, one more thing to blow me away about
an
what this
investment
community,
in our
yes,
future, for
and
sure.
what you're doing to help these families, not just the kids that are coming to these
Agreed.
job fairs, but the families, because it helps the parents too. So I know it's parks and recreation. So I'm going to go a little bit backwards, and I want to go into the recreation part because we're in the middle of summer, and I want to talk a little bit about Graydon, and I want I want to hear, well, I want the lifeguards to hear from me how much I appreciate them. And I want you to talk about the summer camp and what goes on at Graydon.
So Graydon truly is a gem, right? One in several throughout the state of New Jersey, but definitely a premier facility. We are really dedicated about the safety and security of our patrons. That I need to say first and foremost. Our pool manager, Steve Diamond, has been with us for 16 years. Started with us, a neighbor on Meadowbrook Avenue, a lifeguard to head lifeguard to assistant pool manager.
Amazing.
And has dedicated his summer career to educating our lifeguards, following the rules and regulations of the American Red Cross. He's an instructor trainer. He is up on the most important information and all types of life-saving techniques. He's tough. He's militant, and I expect that from him, in training our young adults about this really first response emergency positions that
Right,
that
and
they're
those
in.
kids take it seriously
Young
too.
adults,
Right,
for sure.
You're correct. Young adults. Let's correct that.
So I'm proud of him. I'm proud of Dan. I'm incredibly proud of Katie. That's my management team there overseeing that facility, and we do a myriad of things. We're doing sup yoga. We're doing
saw
yoga
that.
on the
Yeah.
beach. Years ago, we did kayaking. Swim instruction is really important, right? It's a life skill. So to be able to offer this instruction for our children, adults, young adults, is important.
It's
So
fantastic.
we pride ourselves on that.
And every year, so I live right around the corner from Graydon, and I walk there every day and every year I see new improvements. I know we have now a wheelchair, and we've got the sunshades, which are great. Anything else that we should let our listeners know about?
So, we always prioritize Graydon in my capital investments when I look to the future and how can we make it bigger and better, right? Sadly, we've lost some of the elm trees that were adjacent
that
to
was
the
so
facility.
sad. I know.
Yes, the Dutch elm disease, and that was hard. So just this morning, we had the professional out to help us look at our sunshades and to be able to add added shade
Good,
to
I'm
the
so
facility
glad,
because
yeah.
we've lost those trees and we need that from the sun's intensity.
Right.
Years ago, we put in that cement ramp to make the facility ADA compliant, and that feature is getting used.
I'm
Whether
so
you've
glad.
had a knee replacement, whether you've got a torn ACL, whether you just need a little help to enter into the water for recreation or rehab.
Right.
Right? The facility offers that to you.
Oh, that's so good to hear. Yeah. And you guys do a lot of things. I know Hiltz does a lot. Like you had a reception for the older adults. I fit into that category now.
We all are, girl.
But I love that you try and do everything that you can to serve the needs of all of our population here. And the other thing that I really love is that right now you are doing a bathing suit and goggle drive as well as swim diapers, right? So tell us more about that.
So Keith can speak to this too. Through the New Jersey Recreation and Parks Association, our priority is making sure that our children are able to partake in swim instructions. And one of the barriers for that is that many of our underprivileged children don't have the ability to have bathing suits.
Amazing.
Why would they,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So we do a lot of fundraising. We work for Citizens with Swimming. We're in cooperation with the Y. But we really felt that this year the village wanted to totally support this bathing suit drive and goggles, because little guys don't like to open their eyes in the water, right? So we are starting this drive with a partnership with the village, and we've got collection sites at Graydon Pool, at the stable, and Village Hall. So any new bathing suit, doesn't matter what size, because our swimmers come in all sizes, right, would be truly, truly welcome.
And it's really important because it is a challenge for folks to learn how to swim when they're not properly clothed for it. And, I tell this story all the time. I may even have told it on the podcast here before, but within my first 2 weeks here, we had a scare on that second weekend that we thought there might have been a possible drowning at Graydon. And I saw the work of Steve and his team and the lifeguards and Nancy's staff firsthand. And gratefully, that was a false alarm, but it was scary. And when I was in Woodland Park, I can tell you that we did lose a young man. He was a resident of Patterson, and he and his friends were at the Great Notch Reservoir, and they were daring each other to jump into the reservoir. And he didn't know how to swim, but he succumbed to peer pressure. And that's an event that I'll never forget as long as I live. So when Nancy and Katie came to me and said we want to sponsor this, we jumped at the chance to participate because we can really enable people to learn how to swim.
Like
my son is a swimmer, and we've impressed on our children that swimming is a life skill.
It is,
and we want to be able to provide that opportunity to every child that we can.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. And so if anyone wants to donate those swimsuits, and it's so funny, I want to say googles, but they're goggles. So if anyone wants to donate the swimsuits or the goggles or the swim diapers, it's going on all summer. And like you said, there are drop-off sites at Graydon and I think at the stable, right?
Yes, and Village Hall.
And Village Hall, right. Okay, so, and then the other thing that you do that's not timely for this time of year, but I know that you always do a hat and mitten and scarf drive, which I love so much because you decorate the tree with all of that. And so thank you for doing all of the stuff that you do for all of the underserved people that are in our community and beyond Ridgewood. It's really meaningful. And I'm proud that our community does that. So thank you.
Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit now about parks, okay? I don't know if Graydon falls under the parks part of it, but I know it's certainly part of the recreation park. So let's talk about how many I talked to Frank Mortimer earlier today to get the exact number of parks that we have in our community. And as we said, it was 17. So if you can just talk briefly about some of the things that have happened in our parks, some of the improvements that we've made recently.
So to be honest with you, we've been blessed with this new governing body to support our capital budget and investment in our recreational amenities. We have taken on some really serious upgrades within the last several years, and I'm really proud of our accomplishments. I think the biggest one, Keith, that we can speak to is the upgrade in the lighting at Veterans Field. That was $1 million project, and it's taken us 5 months to accomplish this, but we are on our way to finalizing this successful program. So we took those old metallic halogen lights and had them upgraded to LED lighting, and it's phenomenal.
And keep in mind, the older lights were supplemented by generator.
That's right.
Which were
the towers.
which were not environmentally friendly.
They were noisy. They were
smelly.
Bright.
Yep.
It wasn't a pleasant experience for people who were using the field when those lights had to be on either. So this is fantastic, and I love that it's downlighting and that it isn't. Again, the neighborhood is not affected.
The neighbors
by it.
were actually very supportive once we met with them, and we shared with them the new LED technology that makes the light directional. They are experiencing much less glare than they did with the 1980s lights. So we're really proud of that project. It also allows our teams to be on the field for extended periods of times. We're not going past 9:30 at night. We don't want to intrude on neighbors, and that's a priority. But it does allow baseball, softball, soccer, any of the teams that are out there. It allows them additional space because we are tight on field space.
I know we are. That's for sure.
So Jeannie, I wanted to share with you too, the secondary benefit that we did was that we installed pathway lighting around the entire circumference of that walking path.
I didn't even realize that. I guess I'm not out there at night.
Beautiful.
Good. So tell us more where those little pathways are.
So that pathway that goes the entire perimeter
Right.
of Veterans Field is just under half a mile.
Right.
But now there's pathway security lighting.
Nice.
So that our residents that choose to walk early in the morning, we've got residents that want to take a stroll right after the game or before the shell program, so the lights are on for them from
that's so
6
great.
a.m. until I think it's 10 p.m. We turn those security lights
And that was an effort to not only serve the active recreation community, sports
Passive.
teams and stuff like that, but also to support the neighbors who walk there and in a
I'm
more
one of them.
passive way.
Right.
Yep,
so
I'm one of
many,
them.
right?
Yeah.
It's just beautiful.
And, we go down to the Shell, which I want to talk about that too. And so I'm really happy that there's lighting when I go down there too. So let's just touch on briefly the Cow Chow Shell. We had Jenny Coates recently on the podcast, and she talked about what the Shell does. But it is a magnificent piece of our community. Share with us why.
The idea that the volunteers put this entire program together is truly
How many years is it? Like
phenomenal.
70 years old?
I think we're at 67.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So right now, Gail McCarthy has been our chairman for the last 7 years.
Does a
and
great
she's
job.
Truly a wonderful woman. Before that was Joe Delaney. I mean, we've had some really dedicated people step forward and say, I've got this. So
Right.
traditionally, there's 22 programs. We start that first week in June, Tuesday and Thursday evenings, 8 o'clock at the Shell.
Bring your chair. Yep.
Right? A variety
music.
of genre. It's everything from swing to classic to the Orpheus to our local bands. There's a little something for everybody. But it's just a night to get out and
Oh, it's
relax
so great.
and
It's so-
enjoy the out of doors and get to socialize with one another. See your neighbors.
Right, it's community building.
Oh, the
Love
kids
it.
are playing. You get into the music and couples are dancing and you're like, you know what? Life is good.
Yeah, yeah.
Life is good.
And so I know that the Shell relies heavily on sponsorship. So
Absolutely.
if anybody that's listening to this appreciates what goes on at the Shell, be in touch with Parks and Recreation and you will direct them on how they can support it. No, it doesn't matter. No donation is too small.
Agreed.
And if you want to do a big one, then you get your big banner up on the Shell, and it's a really very enjoyable thing for our community. And then, of course, we also have music in the park at Van Est on every Saturday night, which is phenomenal because I think that's really healthy for our downtown. It's super great for the Central Business District. So thank you very, very much for greenlighting that project.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. I know that the park takes a beating, but
A lot of maintenance.
a lot of maintenance there. But, I think it is really healthy for, like I said, for the CBD, right?
Sure, absolutely. Another
Yeah.
reason to come to downtown Ridgewood.
Yeah, for sure. So I know you do a lot of collaboration with the Board of Education as well. So is that, what is that committee called? Is that the,
It's the Fields Committee.
thank you.
The Fields
That's what I was
Committee.
looking for.
So for as long as I've been employed, it started out as the Sports Council, right, in the 1980s, and has morphed itself into fields and facilities, really.
Right.
The committee meets on the first Tuesday every month at 8 a.m. at the Board of Education because we really, truly pride ourselves on this working relationship that we have. All of our youth sports groups utilize both Village of Ridgewood property and Board of Ed properties for their programs. So we've got over 5,000 children in our youth sports programs.
Oh my God, that's
A variety.
staggering.
Right, it truly
It really is. 5,000 kids. yeah.
And I'm a firm believer that these opportunities give children a chance to follow direction and run and jump and play and take turns and meet new friends and understand what good sportsman-like conduct is all about, right?
Yeah.
To get along with others, to win, to lose. It's all about the bigger picture.
Right.
And they're in the out of doors. Yeah. They're with their friends. They're happy.
Yeah.
You know?
And the other component to that I really love is much of the student sports community here in Ridgewood are run by volunteers, right? And that's so important that we work really hard to be in service to our community. So when you're talking about the open space, I know you said it's the Board of Ed members or people from the Ridgewood Public School System, people from the Village of Ridgewood, but volunteers.
And the sports organization.
Yeah.
Right.
So the president of each of the sports groups serves on this fields committee with us.
Right, and they're volunteers, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. And we talk about maintenance issues. We talk about field closures. We talk about lighting. We talk
And the
about
flooding and
all of it.
how to remediate that and what we can
Absolutely.
do.
And I think it's an important point that while the Board of Education and the field and the village share our fields, right? We schedule them across the sports organizations. The Village of Ridgewood is only responsible for 5 active athletic facilities. While we have 17 parks, we only have 5
Fields, right.
field facilities
Right.
that we're responsible for. And then, of course, the Board of Education is responsible for the school properties. We work collaboratively together. We work hard to make that relationship work. It's not always perfect, but we get over the hump. But I do think it's important that the residents here, if they're listening to this podcast, understand the jurisdiction between what is village-owned as far as the properties and what is Board of Education owned.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then you also have the green team. Is that working under the stable, under your purview too, or no?
No, that's separate.
Okay.
So the green team, although they meet at times and we do work on projects together. Earth Day was a collaborative,
Yes,
right, with
yes.
the green team and the Conservancy for Ridgewood
Right,
Public
which is
Lands.
private, right.
We serve together on that committee. I've worked very closely with Water Director Rich Calby. He
Right.
serves with me on that committee. You know, the Earth Day Daffodil Festival is just a tradition.
It's
now in
fantastic.
the
Yeah,
village.
and I think that's probably why I thought that they were under your.
Sure.
But you do a fantastic job. So for those of you who have not attended the Daffodil Festival, you must go. It's always held somewhere around Earth Day, April 20th,
Correct.
right?
Yep, the Sunday
And
before or after.
yep, and so you learn. There's so there's so many people that come out. You do a fantastic, and that's got to take a lot of your time to plan that because it's so comprehensive. And you have one of the things that I loved a couple years ago. You had a vendor that had indigenous plants, and I was like, oh my God, I had no It's such a simple thing. I had no idea that if you plant bushes and flowers that are indigenous to New Jersey, they adapt to the climate and you don't have to worry about watering them. You know, it's
Sure, they enable pollinators, right?
There
They
you go.
encourage that, so it's a cycle for sure.
Yeah.
right?
So, I mean, and all of that is covered at the Daffodil Festival, as well as you always have a little dog parade at, which also then it ties in something for
Daffodil
all
Festival.
ages.
Yes,
Right?
yes,
For all residents of Ridgewood, I should say. Yeah. So you do that. And then you also do, in the fall, you have the Fall Festival in town. Tell us more about that.
So to be honest with you, Jeannie, the Fall Festival started out as a little country fair in 1982.
My God.
It was a fundraiser for programs that we hosted through the Parks and Recreation
And wasn't it just
Department.
initially just at Graydon, right?
No, yeah, well, it was at Graydon and the side meadow of
Right.
the stable.
And now
And
look.
then- and now look. Right.
Unbelievable.
So now it's one of the biggest
Congratulations.
in the state of New
City
Jersey.
blocks.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it's
You know,
so
and
much
it's
fun.
sold out already. You know, we have had to hire a promoter to handle
because
that
it's too
because
big.
it's gotten big.
Yeah.
But it's really, really a fun Sunday afternoon.
It really is.
in
What
the village.
when is it this year?
I want to say it's Sunday, September 15th.
Okay.
And generally from 12 noon till 5 o'clock.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a fun day.
It's a big deal. I mean, you are busy doing so many things, and it's
There's no downtime in the
seasonal.
parks and recreation
That's right.
at all.
And during downtown for the holidays, you always do something really special in Van Est. What is that?
So we were so ultra creative years ago, and I don't know if we remember when we did Fire and Ice.
Yes,
at
I
Graydon.
do, and I want it back. What do we have to do to get it back?
We won the NJRPA award for excellence in programming.
It was.
For that event.
And I know you've taken elements of that.
And we did. So we transformed that into Light and Fire, working with the FMBA. So what happens is that the fire department sets up 5 different fire pits for us, and then the Parks and Recreation Department provides the ingredients for s'mores.
Right.
So the families have a chance to come and warm up, gather around the fire, roast
so
some
much.
marshmallows, and get ready for the tree lighting.
Believe it or not, back when the Fire Nights Festival took place, we actually, my kids had their ice skates on and they were able to skate at Graydon.
The last time
Yeah,
we skated,
think about that.
2014.
Yeah, amazing.
It was fun.
And speaking of awards, it should be mentioned that last year we won an award through the Parks and Recreation Association for the Elder Dinner.
Oh, talk about that. Yes.
Thanksgiving tradition here in Ridgewood.
That is the most amazing thing. Go ahead, tell us.
So just giving from your heart, you know. It was a sad situation that we had a resident that came to the window one day and said that he wanted to make a donation and offer his home to our residents that didn't have a place to celebrate Thanksgiving with. And I said, how can that be? How can that be in today's day and age?
know.
And he gave me you need to do something about it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Okay, I will. I'll pick that up.
sure.
You did.
And we did.
And in a big way.
And in a big way, and in a life-touching way, because now, last year, I think we had 87 senior residents come to us and celebrate at the Paramus Church,
Right.
a free meal together, and write down their blessings, and to be able to share that and socialize with one another.
Again,
meet new friends.
building that community.
And Health Barn is the sponsor for this. You know,
And there's a
Stacy
private
Benson.
family that donates the
Yes,
money to
yep.
purchase the
Poor
food.
family from Glen Rock
Beautiful.
do this in honor of their dad.
Isn't that
You know,
something?
the whole thing is just so spiritual, so giving back, so heartfelt. What Thanksgiving really should be, right?
Oh,
About
for
giving
sure.
thanks.
Yeah. I'm so proud of you and all the work that you do there. And you touched on a little bit with Health Barn. I know that Health Barn, it's a public-private partnership, which is fantastic because I know that there's a lot of programming that takes place over at Tabernacle, which also has a beautiful history in Ridgewood. And there's a whole lot of new things happening over at Tabernacle. Share.
Well, I can tell you, Stacy just this spring celebrated her 10-year anniversary with
Isn't
the
that
Village
amazing?
of Ridgewood,
Yeah.
and that she typically gives back to us in some sort of special way each year. You know, she sponsors teams within us. She's a sponsor of our Earth Day celebration. She gives back to the Parks and Recreation Department. And this year we collaborated on the fact that she wanted to make a lasting difference, and she installed a tree. Help me.
They were nut trees, weren't
Yes,
they? Yeah.
fruit and nut.
Yeah.
Trees.
Orchard.
Thank you. Thank you. It was an orchard. So she did donate 10 fruit and nut trees,
Yeah.
and they were planted by volunteers, and they've been maintained. And how amazing is that to now have her organic teaching garden and for children to see where apples and oranges and peaches and pears are grown and come from.
And I want to tell you, the relationship between the village and Health Barn is unique and special. You know, in today's day and age, and you know, I have 4 kids at home, and you know, trying to educate them about eating right and making good choices when it comes to what they intake and their health. It's a challenge because we're just surrounded.
We're so busy too.
And we're busy,
you know?
and it's convenient, and we're surrounded by processed foods. So the fact that the village can partner with Health Barn and have them as a successful tenant in that park, the education and the gifts that we are giving the children who participate in the programs there is truly something special.
Yeah.
And, you know, public-private partnerships, they exist throughout the state of New Jersey in public parks, both municipal-held public parks and county public parks. And we're fortunate to have this use up at Tabernacle. It's a draw to the park. The attraction to the park is a draw to her programming. There's a great synergy there.
And vice versa.
And it's a
Win-win.
benefit.
Yeah.
And it's
Totally,
a benefit
yeah.
to the children who participate.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll give Stacy a shout out with Health Barn because she was extraordinarily instrumental in saving our downtown during COVID because of Feed the Frontline. So, big kudos for that. But I also want to talk about, I was sad to see it go, but I'm really happy to know that you are replacing the old stable at Tabernacle. Talk to us
Barn,
about
the
that.
barn.
Yep.
We miss that old barn.
I know.
But
Had to go.
Jeannie, wait until you see this new structure. It is incredible. So the Parks, Recreation, and Conservation Board is the advisory board that governs parks and recreation. They've got their voice in understanding the needs of the community, helping us set policy and procedure, and
Right.
field schedule, and very involved members of our community. And we had our meeting up at Tabernacle last Tuesday night, and we toured the facility, and they were awestruck.
Yeah.
They just stood there and just said, Nan, all the pictures, all the conversations, all the drawings, all that we've looked at, it's amazing. It's fabulous.
And we just had final inspection
happy.
actually yesterday.
Oh,
on the-
really? Oh, that's
on the
good to
building.
know.
So
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
timing is of the essence here. But the reality is that structure up there, number one, provides shelter from both rain and sun.
Right.
That was the initial purpose.
And it also allows for another community gathering place.
Yep.
Right? We have Boy Scout troops, Girl Scout troops, home and school association groups. They're all looking
groups.
for church
Yep.
groups. They're
Yeah.
all looking for a place to be.
Yep.
Right, and a place to meet. And what better than a larger outdoor pavilion? So that while they're doing their activities, while they're doing their programming, they can be outdoors
and plus-
rather than in the first level of Village Hall or something like that.
Exactly. And using the AC and being under, fluorescent lighting. It is such a glorious park. I love walking around there. And for those of you who are listening who don't know that, there are trees that are planted in honor of a lot of our wonderful volunteers in this community. And what else I like about it is there is a community garden there, which you oversee. And how
The
many?
orchard now?
Yep. And now the orchard, right?
And a walking path.
And the walking path is phenomenal. And
another
it's
opportunity.
yes,
And
it's gorgeous.
It's bucolic.
It
It's so
truly is.
peaceful. Yeah.
Now, with that community garden, though, there's another. I would think we have 2 community gardens in Ridgewood, right?
So right now we're at one.
Okay, so-
Because of all the construction
I
that
understand.
was going on, we had to take that little one off limits.
Okay, got it.
We had equipment being delivered.
Sure,
We had the
makes
building
sense.
being delivered. So we had a lot of movement in
Right.
the park.
Will
this
it be
spring.
reinstated?
That is something that the recreation team is definitely looking into.
I hope
and
so.
what that looks like and what those dimensions will be. Yeah.
Because we have the community garden down by Maple Field, which is phenomenal.
We
I've been part of that.
participated in that together.
Many a year with that. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
fantastic. And I love that, again, community building. We would, have our bounty. We would share it with each other and help each other water each other's plots. And I mean, that's still going on. So anybody who's interested in having a community garden plot, call Nancy. And I love what Open Space is doing now because they're giving tours of the parks. So talk about that.
So one of the things that we realized is that we have such an amazing park system and that our residents aren't fully aware of where they are and that they're open and that they're available and what are the recreational amenities within each one, So I'm going to have to say, Jeannie, I stole one of your ideas, and capitalized on that, saying that the Ridgewood walks are working, right? And why not give our residents an opportunity to meet in the park, have a tour, ask questions, learn a little bit about the history, the flora, the fauna, how it was developed, what amenities are there, what can it be used for,
Right.
And to and then again, as a gathering place for people to meet and
Yeah.
come together.
Yeah.
So it's 3 years we've been offered this program.
Congratulations. I'm so proud of that. Yeah.
And speaking of open space, the Village Council is currently deliberating putting an open space ballot question on the November ballot.
Very
So
interesting.
it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do. But they are looking to increase funding to open space, which would fund future acquisitions, future park
Nice.
improvement projects.
Is there land to acquire?
So the Open Space Committee has that as one of their priorities, is to identify, most often we look at contiguous space, right? So, the property to the west of Citizens Park.
Okay.
Will that ever come available?
Yeah, okay.
The property down the slope in Tabernacle and maybe along the waterway, if that were Upper Ridgewood Tennis Club.
There you go.
Right. There are properties that, we're looking at as, if the opportunity would come available, do we have the resources to be able to move forward on them?
Oh, good.
So annually, the open space tax for the village brings in about $330,000. And that money has been used in the past to pay off the loans and the mortgages on Tabernacle
funded a lot
and
of
right,
Tabernacle.
Shedler, yep. So we're looking to see, this is about our children and our children's children. And what is Ridgewood doing, right, for the future?
Yeah.
We need to be able, as they did 20 years ago when we had those funds in place to purchase Tabernacle.
Right.
The same for Shedler. Right? We need to be in a position financially to be able to make these types of investments and thwart off any further development within our municipality.
Right. Well, and I just once again have to thank both of you, Nancy, especially you, for all the work that you've done. I mean, because it's decades, and
Yes, thank you.
I just can't. I don't want you to leave, but I so I hope that you're going to stick around for quite some time and continue doing all of the wonderful work that you do. I know that there are things that we could dig into a little bit further, but I just wanted our viewers to be able to hear how many parks we have and what your department does and how efficiently you do it. You do it in excellence. And so I just want to say thanks once again, and thanks for being here.
And I'll tell you, one of the benefits, and you saw it on display here in the last half hour that we've
Yep.
been chatting, the passion
Oh my gosh, yes,
that Nancy,
absolutely.
that Nancy and her team have about making sure that they're delivering recreation and park services to the residents is second to none, at least in my experience.
Oh, I totally
And
agree.
I think you can tell that she feels it and lives this position every day. And I too want to thank
sir.
you and your team for all you do for us here at Ridgewood.
It's a pleasure.
Well
It's been
done.
a lifetime for me, right? And I'm humbled to be able to serve the residents of our community. Thank
Well,
you.
we thank you. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here and for everything that you do to keep Ridgewood running smoothly and looking beautiful. As we heard today, Nancy and her team at Parks and Rec are the heartbeat of so much of what we love about living here, from community events to nature programs, from our ball fields to the walking trails. They help create Ridgewood, the Ridgewood that we're all so proud of. So remember, if you haven't visited the the sensory garden at the stable, because we didn't mention that, it is a real gem. And while you're at it, make time to explore the parks and trails all around Ridgewood, because whether you're walking, biking, playing, or just enjoying the fresh air, these spaces are here for all of us. So until then, please subscribe to this podcast on all major platforms, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you like to watch or listen. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And by the way, if you have a local business or service, I want you to listen up. We're now opening up Ridgewood Talks episodes and our social media for sponsorship opportunities. If you'd like to be part of the show or get exposure to over 6,000 social media followers and at the same time support this important voice for Ridgewood residents, please reach out to us at ridgewoodtalks@gmail.com and we'll take really good care of you. A special thanks to the amazing production team at Ignite Creator Studios for bringing our podcast to life, now with video. And if you'd like to have your very own podcast, please consider Ignite Creator Studios right here in Ridgewood. And again, I'm Jeanne Johnson. Thanks for watching, listening, and supporting Ridgewood Talks. Take care.